Welcome to the Nashville Beat with Bev McCann. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the next hour of music, laughter, and intriguing conversations with legends from country, bluegrass, and gospel music. And now, here's your host, Bev McCann.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Nashville Beat. I'm Bev McCann, and our guest today is Miss Debbie Landers, Executive Director of Nashville's Big Backyard. And we have got some great information for you, and I'm telling great, I mean great. Big stuff. So when they say Nashville's Big Backyard, they're not joking. It is Nashville's Big Backyard, and we have got some fun information, and we're going to talk about how it all got started and all that good stuff, and you're just going to be amazed. You're just going to be like, oh, I gotta go look this up and check this out. So hang tight, get ready for some more great information, and Miss Debbie is going to just fill us up with a bucket load of backyard information. All right, this is Bev, and you're watching the Nashville Beat. We'll be back with you in just a couple minutes. Everybody, as I promised, Miss Debbie is going to give us a lot of great information on Nashville's Big Backyard. Are you ready? Are you ready, Miss Debbie?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, let's talk about this. Let's tell the people how it got started, and just give them the information you feel like you want to share.
Well, basically, I serve as the Hohenwald-Lewis County Chamber of Commerce Director. And so last year during the pandemic, everything was shut down, of course, around March. And probably about in April, I got a phone call one day from someone that I had known for about a dozen years or so, Mr. Aubrey Preston. Now, Aubrey Preston, let's see, the best way I can describe him is he's an entrepreneur on steroids. He is quite the philanthropist. He helped to save Studio A in Nashville.
Oh, wow.
He developed the Americana Music Triangle.
Oh, my goodness.
So he does all of these huge projects.
He doesn't try the little things. He just goes for the big things.
No.
Hence the reason for big.
Exactly. There you go. He does everything big. And so it was on a Saturday, and it was pouring down rain. And I had already decided I was just going to stay in that day and just kind of chill out. And I got a phone call from Aubrey. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, right now, I'm not even worth the powder and the lead it'd take to shoot me. And so he said, "Well, how's everything going? And what do you see happening with the pandemic and all that?" And so I was just telling him about a few phone calls that we had received at the chamber about people looking to relocate. We're a month or so into the pandemic, and so there was folks who were, calling us in Hohenwald, from California, New York, all kinds of places. So I told him of 5 different phone calls that I had had that week. And he said, "Well, Debbie, this is going to be about my 3rd recession." And he said, "I just know," he said, "I think what's going to happen is there's going to be another land movement." And he said, "We can either sit back and let it happen to us, or we can, do something about it." And he said, "You in?" I said, "I'm in. Let's go." And so what we did was we defined what we were looking at here, and we put Nashville at the northern anchor, and then the Shoals down in Alabama as the southern anchor, and that's because they're such international music icons. You've got the Studio A in Nashville, and it is Music City, USA.
That's right.
And then down in the Shoals, you've got Fame Studio and Muscle Shoals Sound Studio, where people come in from all over the world, to see the iconic recordings that have happened there. And so then the Trace is our spine. And then what we did was we looked at it and said, okay, we got to set some criteria here, because if people are going to be relocating, what are they going to be looking for? And so we chose towns, we chose 12 that had a population of 5,000 or less.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so what we wanted to do was to help, bridge those gaps. Like when we're looking at it, we say our mission in Nashville's Big Backyard is to connect and ignite.
Oh, man.
So we're connecting all of the communities together and all of our resources. And what we say is in the big backyard, everybody's toys are everybody's toys. And so I had, been involved with community and economic and development through the chamber for about, since 1996. I can tell you exactly when I stepped over into that area. And so during all those times, you go to these conferences and you hear about community development, and we're always taught that community development precedes economic development.
Right.
And then they said there was a wave came along, regional development. We had to think as a region. And so this has been one of the most fulfilling things because it's we've tried different projects, and I'm so thankful because the state of Tennessee has been so proactive, especially with rural development, and I'm super excited about that and very grateful.
Right.
And so this project, when it came along, it was just like, oh yeah, let's put on roll up the sleeves, put on the gloves, and let's go to work. Let's do this.
Man.
And so that was the beginning of it, that initial conversation. And so we just started talking about it, and so we talked for probably a couple of weeks, pitching ideas back and forth, and what it would look like, how far east, how far west, what does it look like there. And so then we just said, okay, it's an idea, but will everybody want to be on board?
Right.
And so
how are we going to get everybody on board?
How are we going to get everybody on board? So I knew that over the years, I had built some relationships with all of the other folks in the communities, through chambers and just different community groups. And I said, well, tomorrow's Thursday. This is a couple of weeks later. I said, at 1 o'clock, I'm going to start calling all my counterparts. And let's just see. In 1 hour and 15 minutes,
oh, wow,
all of the counties were on board.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
How
And
exciting.
It was very exciting,
I bet. Oh my gosh, that would have been like, how many times does that happen? I mean, you have an idea and you start sharing it and everybody's on board.
Exactly.
It's like, that doesn't happen.
Exactly. Well, it was an easy thing to put out there because we all work on tourism development, and we all work on relocation or a relocators program.
Right.
And so it just made sense. And it made sense, and it was a definable area where we knew that we could play ball up and down the trace.
Yeah.
And we knew that, okay, for example, the week that he called me, what these folks were looking for, we didn't have it in Lewis County, but I knew Lawrence County did. So I just sent them on. So it was already sort of naturally happening, but this way we could all be on the same page and we could work together.
That was ingenious. That was just plumb genius thoughts of, and how you guys put that together. And what I've been learning about it since I met with Cindy and she was sharing everything with me, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I was like, oh, I've got to find out more about this stuff and about the Nashville Big Backyard.
Well, let me tell you one other thing that I think is amazing. We did every bit of this on Zoom.
Oh, wow.
We launched in October 7th of 2020, and we have yet to all be in the same room together.
Oh, man. It's like crazy, isn't it? It's like, who would have thought you could do something like that with, not being together?
Absolutely.
It's really shown us a little different, a lot of different avenues of doing things. And so that's that's awesome. So you launched it October.
We did.
Now this is, we're in June right now. And so, or July, we're in July. Forgot what month I'm in, but we're in July and it's going very well.
It is going very well. one of the things, there were several components that helped, and that was that all of the communities, the towns and counties all coming together and wanting to be a part of the project. And then, of course, Mike Wolf with American Pickers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Mike, he has lived this. You know, he relocated to Middle Tennessee. And so he was like, yes, this is my project, you know. And so he has been so gracious with his time and effort. And so it's just been a beautiful marriage made in heaven, you know, for everybody to come on board and to promote it.
And I think I find it very interesting how you picked, the Nashvilles and then down by the Shoals. It's just, that whole run is just amazing. I know several players that go down there quite often, and I have to say, I didn't even realize what it was all about until just a few years ago. And I thought, wow, that, and then I met Cindy, and she was telling me about this, and you, and all this stuff, and I'm thinking, this is really cool how everything's getting connected.
Right.
And there's all kinds of neat things along the path.
Oh,
there's some
goodness.
things about elephants.
In my town, and people are shocked by that, but we have the elephant sanctuary in Hohenwald. Who knew, And
so tell us where Hohenwald is.
Hohenwald is about 75 miles southwest of Nashville. And so Hohenwald, Lewis County, and I tease Aubrey, that's the only reason he chose me to be the executive director, is because I'm right in the middle. But I am almost exactly in the middle from Nashville to the Shoals, going this way, and our east and west
Smack dab in
pegs.
the
I'm
middle.
right in the middle.
You're like smack dab in the middle with you.
That's right.
Okay, so spell
Hohenwald.
Spell that for everybody.
Hohenwald. And if you said it correctly, which my southern tongue betrays me, it would be Hohenwald. We were settled by the Swiss Germans.
Wow. And I know I didn't say it correctly. I heard it come out, and I'm like, that is not the correct statement.
That's okay. You should hear it. You should hear the natives down there. We've got everything from hole in the wall to Hohenmall to I'm like, no wonder no one can find us.
They're driving along saying, well, that doesn't look right. No, let's see. There must be another one.
I'll be answering the phone sometimes, and they'll say, is this Hohenwald? Close enough.
You got you got the first letter.
That's
We're
right.
Good.
That's right.
That's too funny. That would be me. I'd be like, hello, let's see, what town is this called?
For sure.
So funny. So tell us about the elephant sanctuary.
Okay. Well, the elephant sanctuary, several years ago, there was two folks that came in, and they had an elephant, and they had rescued it from the circus, and they needed a place for it. And so they established the sanctuary. So I always get the question, can we come see the elephants? No, it is a true sanctuary for retired elephants.
From just
From
the circuses
and zoos. And locally, people were like, why, here, and why don't you just send them back to Asia? Why don't you send them back to Africa? Well, unbeknownst to us, there's an international law that you can't.
Oh, wow.
Because
once they're here, they cannot go
because
back.
of the spread of disease.
Oh, wow.
So if they've been on another continent, they can't go back.
Oh,
and
man.
so, so we have a sanctuary there, and I think the largest population, I think they had like 27 elephants at one time, and now there's 10.
Oh, my goodness. So, people can't go visit them or see them.
No, but we have a wonderful discovery center right downtown. It is state of the art. It is absolutely gorgeous. And people come in from all over the world, literally.
That's amazing.
They come. There's three reasons people come to Hohenwald, and that's for the elephant sanctuary. Meriwether Lewis is buried there, and we have world-renowned wineries there. And so people just, it's amazing to me sometimes to find people on the street, or they come into the Welcome Center, and I say, "Where are you from? And how'd you find out about us?" But they come, to the Discovery Center. And you can get on elephants.com and see the elephants live at any time,
All right,
24/7.
There you go.
Elephants.com.
Elephants.com. And you will find the elephant sanctuary, and you can see the elephants roaming.
Absolutely.
That is so cool. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do it. I hope you do it too. And there's more to talk about.
Oh my.
So let's just take a break real quick. You are watching the Nashville Beat. I'm Bev. This is Debbie, and we'll be back with you in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Bev, and this is Debbie, and we are talking about the Elephant Sanctuary, and we're talking about all kinds of fun stuff. Who would have thought you would add an elephant sanctuary in Middle Tennessee?
I don't know, but it's there, I promise.
I didn't know it was there. I didn't even know it was there. So that's pretty cool. I'm so excited. We checked out the website as we were on break, and you can see the elephants right there roaming, just as she said. So check it out. And we're talking about Nashville's big backyard. And I know I'm not the only one that didn't know we had an elephant sanctuary. That just blows my mind.
That's right.
It's so funny. So, what do they eat? And everything. I mean, do they have a big area? I mean,
they have 2,000 acres.
Oh, good grief!
That they roam in, and
10.
they have 2,000 acres there.
And so 10 elephants are roaming 2,000 acres. That's a lot of acres.
That's right.
They've got a lot of room.
That's right.
That's cool. Well, they're big. They need a lot of room.
They're huge.
They are. It's like, whoa. Okay, so what else can we talk about? Now, we've got Elephant Sanctuary, we've got the Discovery, and then we've got the trail. Now, you talked about Trace, the trail, but Trace is, talk about the Trace there.
Okay. Natchez Trace is one of the oldest highways in North America, and so a lot of the original trail is still there. There's 444 miles of it,
and it's beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful.
Beautiful.
And so it's a beautiful drive, in connecting all of us. And each town is so unique in its own right. And, I knew going into this project, I knew a little bit, but I have learned so much myself.
Oh,
and
that's exciting.
It is. And I always have, I love to promote people, and I love to, I love to find people jobs. And when I sit and talk to people, I like to find out how they're geared and what they're gifted with and what's their vision. And so this is just, it's a dream project to be able to go in and not only promote my town, but to see these other beautiful my neighbors.
Yeah, right.
And to be able to find out more about their restaurants and where where you can stay, the rivers. I mean,
we've got some beautiful rivers.
Oh my goodness.
And people don't know they're there. I mean, you really don't get out. I mean, unless you're really searching,
right?
And then you don't really know where to search. So this big backyard, Nashville's big backyard, is really a cool place to go.
Absolutely.
And find a lot of the stuff, because it's not just your town; it's several.
It's
right. It's 400 miles.
Well, it's 100 miles for just the big backyard, as we've defined it.
Right.
And we've actually had a lot of other towns, right outside the borders, and they're like, redraw the map. We want to be a part. And so this is what I tell all of them.
So
listen, we're going to make enough sunshine, everybody's going to get a tan.
There you go. I love that. That is so good. So you're sharing, people call you and ask you, like, people are moving into Nashville area or Tennessee by the droves.
By the droves, absolutely.
And we're all like, okay, y'all can come, and we don't mind you coming, but leave all what you're getting away from back where you go from.
Right.
Don't bring it with you. We like Nashville. We like Tennessee.
Yes.
And we don't.
And that has been, that's been part of it. When you go and like, I had to go before my county commission, to say, okay, here's this project. It's going to be a development project. and do you want to fund it? You
Right.
can if you want to. You don't have to, but it is going to be about tourism. What we've said is people can come to Nashville's Big Backyard and they can play or they can stay.
I love it. Yeah.
Either one. And so, you know, we looked at some of the demographics on just the growth of Nashville over the past 10 years and what the percentage was. And so if you take and I know it's not going to happen, but a lot of people are like, you're going to be bringing all these people here. Do we have the infrastructure? What are you going to do? Debbie, what are you doing? You know. But when we looked at the growth of Nashville and just compared it to that for each of our towns, the land mass is just amazing. And one of the things that we have all lost over the past few years is we've lost our brain trust. In these small rural towns, we have children that, you know, we educate them. And then they grow up and they go off to college and they don't return. And so we're hoping that they will see that, you know, you can come start a business here and the growth is here. And you can have the best of both worlds because now with Wi-Fi, you know, we've got this broadband happening. And again, thanks to the state of Tennessee for helping us to get that done.
And that's going into these small rural areas.
It is.
And that's helping them be able to grow and
absolutely.
And expand.
And we were comparing notes on one of our Zoom calls. We're going to have broadband coverage in little old Lewis County, which is like one of the smallest counties. It's just tiny. Before Williamson County, which is a lot larger. We're going to have it first.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
And so what I've told people is they can go sit on the lake. You know, they can buy their house, go play in the creek, sit on the lake, and then come in and work remotely.
There you go.
You can have the best of both worlds.
That's a good slogan.
Absolutely. Let me write that down.
Here's a piece of paper.
All right.
So, well, that is awesome. I think it's just phenomenal how you guys have put this together in such a short time.
Absolutely.
But really, we needed something because so many people are coming in.
Absolutely.
And they don't know, like Murfreesboro, Good Heavenly Days in the Morning, it's like exploded.
Oh, yeah.
And on every corner.
Well, and you know, what people are looking for. Okay, so for example, when those phone calls come in to me, which they're at least 3 to 5 per week.
Wow.
That's what I field. Just for my county.
Just your county.
That's not counting the other counties, you know, and we compare notes every once in a while about what that looks like. And so this is, to me, the quintessential phone call. So I get this phone call one day, and it's a young gentleman, I can tell, and he starts in asking me, he's talking about land, he's talking about, you know, Hohenwald and Lewis County. And so he asked me all of the right questions, and I'm answering all the questions. And I said, because by this time I'm curious.
Right.
You know, it had started like in February but in March when the shutdown happened, it just really increased then.
Oh, man.
I said, how'd you find us? He said, I Googled you. I said, and what were your Google words? He said, cheap land, low taxes.
Those are good ones. That's what people are looking for, though.
That's right.
Because, California. I have family in California. The taxes are horrendous.
Yes.
And they're just taxing their people to death.
Absolutely.
And businesses, my son has a business out there, and he has to pay out the wazoo for everything. And then they want to tax you for having a certain kind of truck or whatever, but you can't do your business without it.
Right.
You know, it's like, that's kind of really just, you know, you're cutting them off of their knees, you know.
Exactly.
And it's kind of hard to, you know, continue making a living and doing all the things that they do.
Well, and like I said, young people used to leave the country to go to the big city because that's where the potential was.
Right.
But now, because the playing field has been...
The broadband.
Yeah. It's been leveled out. Okay, so like with this young man, he was in New York City.
Oh, my.
Because I asked him, I said, where are you at? He said, I'm in New York City. And I said, so why? He said, well, let me explain this to you. He said, it's me, my wife, and 2 children, and we live in an 800 square foot apartment that we pay like $3,000 a month for. So I forget what number it was.
Oh, good Lord.
And he said, ma'am, and you got to remember, this is right in the middle of the big shutdown.
Yes.
He said, I can see parks that we can't go to. And there are 3 grocery stores on our block and there's no food. What would you do? I said, I'd get out of there so fast it'd make your head spin. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, in that moment.
So welcome to Nashville.
Right. You know, so when you're looking at that, and that was very typical of a lot of the phone calls.
Well, that's what I hear a lot of too. I hear people always say, what's it like in Tennessee? What's it like? I'm like, hey, it's great, you know, and it's been great. We've got a great governor. I love him. He's done, you know, I think he's done a great job through all of this, and I think that, you know, everybody around Nashville, we are pretty sensible.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, people are looking for that.
Well, and speaking of people, that was another part of what he said, plus all of the other people. They've said, okay, he said, this is not the environment I want to raise my 2 children in.
Right.
I want them to have the same values that I had. I want them to have the same morals that I have. And so it's just a time to return home.
Isn't that cool? I mean, I think that, I think my son and my son and his wife and kids would probably move in a heartbeat if they could at the moment, you know. And, you know, due to logistics, different things like that, it's kind of not a easy decision to do. But my daughter-in-law, she's even told me, she says, I would move to Nashville in a heartbeat, you know, because they like it back here. They like the feel that you get when you're back here and stuff. So I love Nashville. I've been here 18 years.
Right.
And when I moved back here, I felt like I was moving home.
Right.
It was like, I have to have some roots here somewhere because, you know, this is like, I'm coming home, you know. So I've looked in my ancestry and stuff, and I do have roots here, and it is home, you know. And it's like, it's such a wonderful feeling, you know. And so, but that's what people are looking for, and you guys are opening the doors for them to find that. I think that's awesome. Did he move? Do you know?
I don't know.
Isn't that amazing? It's like, oh, please tell me if you come.
So I think he did, because I was talking with one of my counterparts over in Lawrence County, and I think that family, that's where they landed.
Oh, how exciting.
One of these days, I pray the Lord will just, you know, you'll go, yeah, that was me.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm so glad you came. I'm glad you got out. Yay. Yeah. So that'd be fun. That would be fun. That would be exciting to me to find out if they, you know, if they
I'll
came.
let you know.
You let me know. I think that's so cool, because I find that a lot of people are asking for that.
Yes.
And they're wanting, you know, they don't want to just reach out their window and shake hands with their neighbor. They would like a little further, you know, like a couple 100 feet at least.
I think, right. I think last year, you know, it stopped the world for sure. Yeah. And I think it was a great reset. And I think everybody, no matter what age or, you know, what demographic you came from, it made you think about your values, and it made you think about what you really, really wanted at the end of the day. Yeah. And a lot of people changed a lot about their life, what they were. Someone ahead and said,
really important.
Exactly. They got down to the basics. You know, a lot of people returned to their faith. Yes. A lot of people returned to, you know. Like there's a couple that they took early retirement, and he said, I've worked a job that I don't like my whole life, and now I've got the income, you know, I've got the reserves to do it, and I've still got enough youth to do it. So you know, they're moving here to start that hobby farm, or you know, what they've wanted to do.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So
see, now that's a Tennessee story.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
So cool.
Yeah,
come out to the backyard. We'll just put you right
where
home.
You can play for sure, or you can stay.
I love it. Well, Debbie, let's take a break real quick, because we're going to come back and we're going to find out about some things that's going on in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
Over in Nashville, or the backyard, the big backyard.
The big backyard.
All right, folks, hang in there. We'll be back with you. Is this not fun? This is fun. I don't know if you're having fun. I'm having fun. So anyway, we'll be back in just a few minutes, and we'll get some more information from Miss Debbie. Welcome back, everybody. I am having so much fun here with Debbie, the executive director of the Nashville's Big Backyard. And we've been having so much fun. We've talked about elephants. We've talked about people moving here. We've talked about all kinds of stuff. And so I hope you've enjoyed it so far, but we are getting ready to find out what's going on with some festivals that they're putting on.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go there.
All right, so there's lots of activities. Matter of fact, there were so many things going on during the 4th of July, there was no way to make them to all of them. Because when you combine all of the different activities from each of the towns, whoa! But coming up in this month, what we've got from the north to the south, let me start from the south forward. So down in the Shoals, down in the Shoals, there is a festival that they've been holding for many years. It's called the W.C. Handy Festival.
Yes.
It's a music festival. I have not been, so this is going to be my first year to be there, and I'm so excited about it. And so it's a 10-day music festival. And
there's some awesome music down there.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Blues music, any
Everything.
genre.
Yeah.
Any genre.
Oh my gosh. I have several friends of ours that that play with us in the studio and different. They go down there every year, and oh my goodness, what I've wanted to go, and I haven't had a chance. So I'm going to be jealous now.
And I would suggest to everybody to go online and just look at go to the Shoals.
Yeah.
There's several different websites, and just look up WC Handy Festival. And like I said, it's 10 days. But I would really suggest that everybody goes to the sound studios also.
Oh yeah.
I went, and it was just phenomenal.
Oh my gosh.
It was just
I'd
phenomenal.
be like, oh.
Yeah, it was.
So
It was
cool.
like surreal,
Yeah.
standing there in the studios.
bet.
And so then, as you come on up in Lawrenceburg, about the same time, at the end of July, there is the Southern Gospel Music Festival that's happening there, and Lawrenceburg is the home of Southern Gospel music.
Wow. There you go, folks.
so
So
that's
all
gonna
of the
be-
Southern Gospel lovers, there you go. You want to go to Lawrenceburg. And then there's one more.
Absolutely. So you come on up to north. This is a brand new festival for Tennessee. Is Life Fest Music City.
Woo, woo, woo.
I know, I'm so excited. So they have been having Life Fest for about 22 years out in Oshkosh, Wisconsin. And they just had it this past weekend.
Oh, man.
And there was about 60,000 people there.
Oh, my
So
gosh.
it's Thursday,
How
Friday, and
exciting.
Saturday night. And so they're bringing that to Tennessee.
Woo!
I know, I'm so
Oh, man,
excited.
that should make you want to shout.
And so it's contemporary Christian music. And so I got a phone call from the Life Fest folks about Nashville's Big Backyard. They had heard about now, so they've been planning coming to Tennessee since last year. But remember, we just launched in October,
Right.
so they hadn't heard of us. And so I got a phone call, and they had heard of Nashville's Big Backyard and all of the music that's up and down through here.
Oh my gosh,
So we're
yes.
going to have our own stage there.
Oh, how
There's going to be
awesome.
5 stages on the main stage now. Oh my goodness, there's going to be
man.
Michael W. Smith.
Yes.
If I start naming them, I'm going to miss them. But there's
Yeah.
going to be Lecrae. There's going to be Skillet, Newsboys.
Oh my gosh.
I can't name
It's
them
gonna
all.
be
Yes.
awesome.
So everybody will have to get
Yes.
online and see Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. And so Nashville's Big Backyard,
And that's coming in July.
and that is in July. That's July 29th, 30th, and 31st.
Woo, baby.
And it's
That's
going to
be so
be,
good.
oh, I know. And what makes it even better is it's going to be held at Johnny Cash's old farm.
Oh my goodness.
At
That
the
is
Hideaway
so-
Farm.
Oh, that's going to be
In Bon Aqua.
That is
Yes.
awesome. Well, we will put that information out,
Mm-hmm.
and we will let everybody know, and your website to where they can go and find all this stuff.
Absolutely.
And that is so exciting. We're going to show a video. And it's your promo
Uh-huh.
about the Nashville's Big Backyard.
Correct.
And Mike Wolf is in this one, right?
He is.
Okay, so we're going to skip on over here to a video, and then we're going to come back after the video and find out who Debbie Landers is when she's not being executive director. Enjoy the video.
During these times of uncertainty, many of us do a lot of soul searching. We are looking for comfort and family. We hear about the problems daily, but let's focus on the solution. Think about how the generations that came before you grew up with a sense of community and connection to the land. Places like this still exist. Nashville's Big Backyard is a powerful solution to today's economic crisis. This Back to the Land movement is a virtual showroom of small towns outside of Nashville, where people who are looking for a different way of life will have the opportunity to consider Tennessee. With the high cost of rent in cities and the changing landscape of American business, to include more opportunities for working remote or running a business online. People have a real chance to live the simpler life they are longing for affordably. For some, it might be opening that shop they always dreamed of on Main Street. For another, it might be buying that homestead near town and growing your own food, or just knowing that you can let your kid ride their bike into town without worrying. That's community. What I love about my life on the road is spending time with the people in these two-lane towns and getting to know their stories. These communities are important parts of the heart and soul of America. Small town revival and preservation has always been a passion of mine. The American dream is still alive and well in these places, and this time in history gives us a unique opportunity to embrace that, to come home again for the first time. Come play in our big backyard.
Well, welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that video. It is an awesome video. It gives you lots of great information. And as you were watching the video, I was talking with Miss Debbie, and we're going to let you in on some great information on who Miss Debbie is when she's not being executive director of Nashville's Big Backyard. Mm-hmm. So, Debbie, let's talk about who you are when you're not being executive director.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit.
Where do you want me to start?
You see that look? Mm-hmm. There's a lot to this lady, let me tell you. Now, I know that you have you're a pastor.
I am. So the very first thing, because you said you had just lived here for 18 years, mm-hmm. Okay. I'm a B&R, born and raised here.
Love it, love it.
So I was born in Hohenwald, grew up there, and met a fellow that swept me off my feet when I was 14. He was 15, and we married 4 years later. So I married my high school sweetheart.
Oh, how precious.
Absolutely.
I love it.
And at age 21, I had a very radical born-again experience, and I fell in love with Jesus. And about a year later, my husband came along. And in 1986, we planted a church in Hohenwald.
Oh, wow.
And so we have, we're pastoring there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at 35 years.
Man.
Yeah.
That's a long time. That's awesome, though.
It is. And
is so cool.
We had the church, and we have a Christian school.
Oh, wow.
And then we got into missions. We have a church and a school in Haiti, in Mariani, Haiti.
Oh.
And
cool.
so we take care of some folks there, and we've planted churches other places. And unfortunately, my husband passed away in 2017.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
And so at that point, we just took some time, and as a church family, we prayed and fasted, and God just made it very clear to us that I was to remain during this season of transition. So yes, I am a pastor.
Oh, wow.
And
so you went from being the pastor's wife and serving together to
yes.
being the head pastor of the church. Wow, that's a lot, isn't it? And then you do all the things you do.
Well, this is how I tell people. What I do, pastoring is how I serve my church. How serving the chamber and Nashville's Big Backyard is how I serve my community. And they really just sort of flow together.
Hand in hand, huh?
Yeah, it really is. Because like I said, I'm a people person.
Yeah.
And I've always, even before I knew that I was an entrepreneur, that I loved people. And I'm actually a nurse by training.
Oh
so,
my goodness
yeah,
sakes.
So when
That's awesome.
out of high school, I went to nursing school, and I worked as a clinical nurse in our community for 10 years. And I'm still a licensed nurse, and I go on medical missions and all.
So do you take that down to Haiti then?
I do.
I thought so. So that is, so you go as the pastor and as a nurse and take care of and lend your services in that way as well.
That's right.
Wow.
And
what a blessing.
It is. It really is. I feel like that, you know, I'm going to go out of this world empty. So everything that God has put in me, I'm just going to pour it out until there's nothing left. And the moment that I get to the place that I feel like okay, that's it. Oh my goodness, I find one more thing, you know, it's like, okay, let's go do this, you know.
How I can identify with that. I mean, you
Exactly.
know, people always ask, you know, how many hats can you wear?
I get that question.
All the time, huh?
All
and I'm like,
the time.
Well, you know, I don't wear them all at the same time necessarily.
Exactly.
But, you know, it's like, well, God puts this in your heart to do, and then you go do that, and you do this and that, and it all kind of goes together.
Well, and it's all about helping people.
Right.
I can't stress that enough. You know, everybody says, how do you wear this hat and this hat and this hat and this hat? Well, you just, you know, when you're loving and caring, you know.
I love it.
I find that it multiplies.
Yeah.
It's like the loaves and the fishes. You know, you think you're going to feed 12, and then you wind up feeding 5,000. Okay.
There you go. It's like, okay, come on, bring them on in.
And then you have baskets left over.
That's right. That's right, to feast on. Yes, I was, it's kind of funny you say that, because, I mean, sometimes people say, are you always happy? You're always laughing? You're always this way or that way? You know, are you really seriously? Like, most of the time, I mean, I have days and moments that I'm not so excited, you know.
Absolutely.
And I have my downtime, but I know, you know, I'm sure you have your downtimes.
Absolutely.
Everybody has to have their downtimes.
But you know, here's the key for me, because you know, when I get that question, I tell them this is the kingdom. This is kingdom living. And I know where the definition comes from, and it's found in Romans chapter 14, verse 17. And Jesus tells us, or Paul wrote and said, this is what the kingdom is. It is righteousness and peace and joy in the Holy Ghost. And you have you have to start in righteousness.
That's right.
And so as I stay in right relationship, you know, you've always heard of the cross. This one, me and Jesus staying right.
Yeah.
And this, staying right with everybody on this level.
Right.
And so as I walk and stay in righteousness, then peace just comes.
Yes.
And then as C.S. Lewis, he wrote a book that said, Surprised by Joy. I am surprised by joy every day that I get up, because when I look at it, sometimes, you know, it's like, oh my goodness. But then there's this joy of, hey, I get to get up and do this again today. Yeah. All right, let's go.
It's like, yes.
Yes,
you know,
this is
like,
awesome.
I know, it's like, I think, if I think about everything at one time.
Oh, I can't.
I can't do it.
I can't.
Because then I think, you know, you get overwhelmed. Like, you know, with everything that, you know, God gives you to do. And you think, well, can't someone else do this stuff too?
Exactly.
You know? But no, it's like, this is what you're going to do. You need to stay busy, because if you don't, you're going to get in trouble.
Well, and another part of that, though, is I am a team builder, and I love to build teams, and I'm a delegator. So I always tell everybody, I refuse to do this alone.
That's right.
So, you know, whether it's at the church or it's in the communities or whatever, it's like, come on, y'all. you know, because I do know my limitations.
That's right.
And so if you've got this gift, you know, and I look at our team, and we've got such a great team with Nashville's Big Backyard. We have
it
got,
sounds like it. Oh my
our
gosh.
media team, they're fabulous. And then you've got professionals in each of the communities that's what they do. They're doing community and economic development all the time.
cool.
And we're just playing ball together, you know, so.
It's just a little bigger field.
It is.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've learned is anybody who knows me for very long, they'll see me draw a stick man. And the two legs on any relationship, whether it's you and the Lord, you and your spouse, you and your children, I have 2 poodles, me and my poodles. There's 2 legs to every relationship, and that is trust and respect.
That is so true.
And if you
Without
have
either one.
trust and respect, you can do so much. You can climb mountains. You can do all kinds of things. And
Sure
if the
can.
trust is broken or the respect is not there, you don't have a leg to stand on.
That's very true.
Right.
I have said that so many times because, you know, my dad would tell me that, you know, if you're worried or you don't have trust, you can't, you know, there's nothing there.
There's nothing there. That's right.
You don't have anything. You don't have any foundation if you don't have that trust. If you don't have,
Right.
you know, you have to have that. It goes back to being, you know, living a righteous life and being, you know, worthy of trust. You know, trust. You know, and trust is an earned thing.
It is.
You know?
If you want trust, you have to be trustworthy.
Right.
If you want respect, you have to be respectable.
That's right.
So the people we've partnered with, these are folks that they've got a history
Right.
of trustworthiness and respectability.
Right.
You know,
And it all makes a happy day.
it certainly does. It certainly does.
Well, I'm telling you what, this has been so fun. And we're coming down to the very last few minutes. So
Awesome.
I have to ask my question.
Okay.
All right. Debbie, what is your favorite ice cream?
Spumoni.
Oh, that's a new one. Oh, I love it. That is great. Oh, my goodness. That, folks, that's a new one for the books, I have to say. And I've asked a lot of people that question. I have not yet gotten that answer. That's unique. I love it.
It is.
So, okay, so let's wrap this up. We've talked about the Nashville's Big Backyard, and that is a phenomenal thing. We're going to put some information that should be on the bottom of the screen. You guys will be able to get to the website and be able to get a hold of Debbie, and she will give you all kinds of information.
Absolutely.
And then if you have any other questions you want to talk to her about, I'm sure she'll chat with you about it without a problem.
I've got a story for everything.
Let me tell you a story.
That's right.
Well, Debbie, it's a pleasure.
It has
Thank
been
you
a pleasure.
so very much.
Thank you for having
Oh my
me.
goodness, I've loved every second. So until next time, I'm Bev. This is Debbie. And we say thank you for watching the Nashville Beat.
You've been watching the Nashville Beat with Bev McCann. If you've enjoyed the show and would like to become a partner with the Beat, just scan the QR code at the bottom of the screen. Until next time, keep on the beat.